Hi and welcome, chart artists. I've got a beautiful Picasso drawing, painting prepared here for you. We will go through it. I'll simplify it. We'll go through it step by step. What is Bitcoin and Ethereum's next move? We'll tackle some market sentiment and dive right into the charts. Also, I highlighted this little short that I took on BingX yesterday, played out to perfection. We'll just do a quick recap on that scenario and how it played out, and then also come and trade with me. Use one of these links to sign up to 3 of my favorite exchanges. Nice bonuses as well. Go down in the description, click on more, sign up to one of these exchanges and come trade with me. Okay, let's go through a little bit of news. First up, RSI is above 70. Okay, cool. Let's go look at the RSI on Bitcoin quick. So if I go onto the daily, interesting thing I note here. So I'm not really an RSI trader, but nevertheless, an interesting indicator to keep in mind. Okay, you can see that the daily here is at the top and it's curling over, so we could see further momentum to the downside. Let's go to the weekly as per the news event, and you will see that while the weekly still has a little bit to go, not at the bottom just as yet, so perhaps another week or two and we will see that nice little consolidation here at the bottom for then potentially a turnaround to the top. Okay, but nevertheless, I don't use RSI from a trading strategy perspective, but it is an interesting indicator to keep in the back of your mind, especially when you're trading higher time frames like the weekly and the daily. Okay, let's go back here onto the 2 hour and analyze what is going on here with the price of Bitcoin. Cool. Also, just noticed here on the 2 hour RSI here at the bottom. But I mean, it's a lagging indicator. It's not real time and not something that I need to fulfill my trades. Okay, let's take that out the way. Let's zoom into this little structure over here and go through it step by step. So let me switch all of this off and say, okay, where are we? We are currently still inside of this range here from 4th of December up until where we are right now. Okay, we had a deviation above, another deviation above, but ultimately you trade the range until there's no more range. As soon as you get acceptance back below inside the range, your target is the bottom, which happened. Okay, you tap the top, you come to the bottom. You long the bottom, you short the top. You long the bottom, okay, almost tap the bottom, you short the top. And again, we had a massive deviation above. We came and we got acceptance back inside the range, the target, the bottom. So you short the top and you take profit at the bottom. And now we got a deviation from below and we are now currently back inside of this range. The target being this top over here. So for the range traders out there, you would have most probably entered here when we got acceptance back inside the range and your profit target is here around the value area high. Okay. So for now, the one thing that I have noticed is that we have 2 little point of controls that I've mentioned in my previous updates as well, where we are now currently finding support. And if we start breaking down here, it could mean that we can come back and test the value area low before we then potentially find momentum to the upside. So quite important that we keep and hold this point of control to find more momentum to the upside. Okay, also perfectly rejected at this high volume node, which I had marked here as 2 major point of controls, and we got that rejection as I mentioned yesterday in my YouTube update. And zooming into this price action, let's see what is going on here. During my update yesterday, and also why I took this trade, which I've taken profit now, is to say that, well, when we were over here and we got acceptance, so first we SFP'd from this major point of control, we retested it, and again we retested it, but struggling to break through. And I mentioned yesterday in my YouTube video as well, my profit target for this trade is here at the major point of control, which is now played out to perfection. Can we still find momentum to the downside? Of course. Okay, but I've taken majority of the profits over here, now looking for a new fresh trade for today. Right. The one thing that I am noticing about the structure is, like, let's put a trend line in here to see, well, what is happening over here. Okay, when I connect these little lows, you can see that we've now bounced here on this trend line. Okay, and currently getting that reaction to the upside. Okay, but we have to acknowledge that we are now below this second major point of control. Okay, failing to get acceptance back above could mean that we come down to lower prices. Okay, let's go through some of the scenarios here to say that, well, I have a FIP, a major FIP that I'm watching, is to say if you take a FIP from this high to the low, we have now rejected also in confluence with this major point of control at the 50% FIP level. Okay, and currently consolidating here by the 382. So a bigger FIP here in play. Also what I'm watching is to say that, well, where are possible other rejection areas if we do find momentum here to the upside? I'm looking here at the 0.618 and further up 786 and the 0.88. So if this is at A, B to the upside, the 0.88 is also a B wave target. Okay, what else? Here are two scenarios that I'm currently watching, is to say, what if? Okay, I like to put in my what if scenarios, and now I go and I switch on more fibs. Zooming into this price action over here, you can see I have a blue and a yellow scenario. Is to say that yellow scenario is we're now testing this major, we broke through, we are now retesting this major point of control, and then we are going to break this trend line to the downside, where we can either find support here at, let me just grab my brush, here at the 382 or the 50% fib level. Okay, kind of the two areas that I'm watching at the moment. The 50% fib level has confluence with this support, which has acted as nice support for these lows, failing to break through, then continue to the upside, which could now still act as support for any movement to the downside. Also further down, that value area low that I've been talking about as per the higher time frame, is to say that, well, we could come down further, retest the value area low, because we broke through, we haven't retested it yet, and perhaps this is a breakout where we're now coming back for a retest and then continuation to the upside. Okay, so definitely a couple of scenarios that I'm watching here. Then another scenario that I'm watching is to say that we break through, we retest the 50% or the 30%. We'll just have to observe the price reaction as we hit one of these levels. You want to see this level hold for momentum here to the upside, but this potentially will take us, from a trend line breakout perspective, is you short, you buy in at the retest, and you're expecting prices to further to the downside, where we then have that scenario that I spoke about yesterday, the three-wave structure, and then we find momentum here to the upside. Okay. This three-wave structure can go as low as here by the 786. Okay, losing this value area low, making people extremely bearish. Okay, we've lost the range, we're going down here from now, and then reclaiming it, getting that acceptance back inside the range. Exactly what happened over here. You break out, okay, you test, you reclaim the level back inside the range, and your target being the lows or the bottom of the range. Okay, what else? So these are basically the two scenarios that I'm watching at the moment, is to say that, okay, either we reject here by the major point of control, we bounce here before we hit the value area low on the 50% fib level, and then we go and make a higher high, and then find continuation to the downside, which is still a three-wave structure. So if the high is not in yet, the one level that I am watching is to say that, well, perhaps the three-wave structure looks like this, where we go a little bit higher before we correct, for then continuation to the upside to go and complete that three-wave structure. Or we fall down from where we are right now, we complete the three-wave structure to then find continuation and momentum to the upside. Okay, I hope that makes sense. One of the other things that I'm also watching is to say that, well, when I take a fib expansion, okay, from this low to the high to this low over here, and I drag it across, you can see that we've hit the 1.618 here, which makes people believe that this is a three-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside, and this could potentially be the end of the fifth wave, and now we're going to find continuation to the downside for the blue scenario to play out. But what if the yellow scenario does play out, where we bounce here and we come and tap the 2618? Like I've mentioned, the 618 targets are very common, especially when you look at market structure and movements of waves to the either upside or to the downside. Right, the one thing that I have noticed here by the 2.618, when you take a fib here from the top, okay, to the bottom, you will see that this 2.618 also aligns here with the 618 of this from the high to the low. Okay, so definitely an area of confluence, and then when you look at this line, you can see it has confluence here with these little lows and these little highs, which acted as resistance and then acted as support. Okay, cool. So there is some confluence here. Also, this consolidation has confluence here with the 618. So definitely on the cards, we could still see bullish momentum from a yellow perspective to the upside before we find downwards momentum. But we could also drop from where we are right now, potentially finding support here on the blue scenario for momentum to the upside. Okay, that is basically the scenarios that I'm watching currently for Bitcoin. Let's jump onto ETH. Looking at Ethereum, as per yesterday's update as well, just doing a quick recap, I've been tracking this momentum here to the downside. We had a nice little breakout, and I think when I did the update, we were over here somewhere, so just zooming into the structure over here, I said we're either coming back home to retest this trend when we were over here, or we're building up a spring for a breakout to the upside. Okay, and then we had the breakout to the upside, and currently we found some resistance at this little order block over here. And now you want to see the support hold. Okay, this support is supported by the highs over here. You want to see the support hold for potential continuation to the upside, and losing the support, a retest of the home line, is where you potentially have great buying opportunities. I'm also keeping an eye when you take a fib here from this low to the high that we've made. You can see that we found support here on the 786. So there's still a possibility that we could, just grab my brush, that we could come down here, test this level again. That's acted as great support for then faking out, getting acceptance back above into this home line for continuation to the upside. Okay, let's take the brushes out the way. The other thing that I'm looking at here is to say that when I go into, let's go into the 4 hour, let's just zoom in here, you will see that we are currently inside of this range here also from December. Like I've mentioned on Bitcoin as well, from December, this entire range, we struggle to break through. Range traders, you know, you short the tops, you long the bottoms, and you would have made significant profits with these movements up and down. Nice deviation to the upside. And again, acceptance back inside the range. You're targeting the lows. Nice little trade that played out there. And also what you can see now is we got acceptance back inside the range. Your target being the top, which is now played out to perfection, and that is also where Ethereum is now getting that rejection from at the moment. We do have a point of control over here that can act as support should we come and not hold this little mini support that I have over here. So the scenario is you want to see this hold for momentum to the upside, or we're going to break down, find support potentially here at the point of control for a bounce, and perhaps come down to the value area low again. Okay. Then also please go smash up the like if you like the content, subscribe to the channel for future notifications, and go and watch this investment strategy for your long-term portfolio. Until the next one, cheers for now.